Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Picture with Grant McGaw and Chris Principe. This is going to be a very interesting story today. We're going to continue on consumer payments. But before that, there's a big elephant in the room. Me and Chris have been talking about that. What is the elephant in the room? And we got to talk about this, talk about payments, things that we buy, right? We buy these things, but there's some things out there right now that I think the big elephant in the room is either the purchase or the acquisition of Greenland. What do you think about that, Chris?
Well, I tell you, it fits with our topic, which is a continuation of consumer payments. Because us consumers would be paying for
Many way in more ways than one. I would figure. I'm just not sure. I don't know what the strategy or opinion or whatever it is might be behind it. But as far as I remember, I thought Greenland was a friend of ours. Weren't they part of NATO?
Well, great. Let's go into that. I really think that a continuation of our big elephant last time, which was Venezuela, totally different elephant and beast, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Okay? Now, this is not as big an elephant, all right? And you might have some people who say that, well, maybe the elephant in the room should be Iran, and who knows, maybe it'll be the elephant in the room next week. Anyway, we decided the elephant in the room was Greenland, and we'll get to that. But let's start off with our topic that we need to continue. And I have to apologize because I thought we could do consumer payments in 1 week.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hey, that makes the world go round.
Yeah. We may even have to spill a little bit over to next week on these consumer payments. But let's talk a little bit about consumer payments, and then we'll dive into. I got a little something up my sleeve. Plus, we got the elephant, right?
Right.
So we talked about, and I'll just start off the same way I started off last time. Okay, what consumer payments are about today is what I call the 4 I's: instant, invisible, intelligent, and integrated, right? So we want to stay with that. What I want to start off talking with is a topic that people probably have heard the term and really don't know what it means, and really don't know what does that mean to me as a consumer. Because as you'll discover right now, it probably doesn't mean
Well, we'll find out exactly what it means when Chris. And if you're like me and you're looking at that face, Chris was stuck there for a minute, and the facial expression just told the whole story of consumer payments. It was
well timed, right?
well timed. Yes.
So we'll talk a little bit about open banking. So what does open banking really mean? And it does mean a lot for the consumer, except that it's not something that the consumer does or is involved in, or even it's really a behind the scenes kind of thing. And what open banking means in a simple definition is that the systems in the bank are open to outside financial suppliers or financial software suppliers, right? In the form of open APIs. I don't mean that anybody can just go into the system of the bank. God knows we don't want that. Neither does the bank, right? But what I mean is that now there can be some truer meeting of information between the financial software provider and the bank systems. All secure. Okay, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable here. All secure. So give you a quick example, right? Just in payments, okay? So when you have PayPal, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. Now PayPal is able to work with your bank, and you can pay from your bank account through PayPal, right? This is a very typical approach of open banking, where the bank has opened up the ability for PayPal to grab information and complete the payment from your account, right? Very simple and straightforward. But so what does it really mean? Well, what it will mean, or what it does mean, is really faster, easier, cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 of the words I really like, right?
Love it.
So it'll mean that information moves faster, It'll mean that there's less friction and things will be cheaper and things will be easier, which means that you as the consumer really won't see what's going on, right? It'll just happen. And again, like you and I like to talk about it once in a while, sausage is good. I don't want to see how it made.
Don't tell me all the the gory details,
Yeah.
underneath, but I hear what you're saying. Yes.
And then one of the things that we'll see, and it's already happening, is what we call A to A. A to A is account to account payments, right? So this is where from your account, from my account to your account, I can make a quick payment. Zelle is a great example of that.
Okay, I like Zelle.
Right, and we're going to see more and more systems like that. And again, what's nice about it, I can pay you 24/7. I can pay you for no cost. I can pay you securely, and I can pay you from inside my bank to inside your bank. So it's very interesting too, because I have a lot of people that I've talked to, companies really, small businesses, that I say, you should be using Zelle.
Yeah.
To accept payments and make payments. And they say, oh, no. Oh, no. Too much fraud there. Nope, not taking that risk. And I understand what they mean, okay? Because there has been fraud with Zelle. But the fraud is not the Zelle system itself. The fraud is not the fraud between money moving from your bank to my bank or my bank to your bank. That's all secure. It's bank to bank. It doesn't get more secure than that, right? Where the fraud is that some scamster calls you up and says, oh, your son is in the emergency room. He had a car accident. He needs $1,000 right away.
Right.
Okay. And I'm sorry about that use of an example, but it was.
Well, they give people their urgency, the sense of urgency. You're not checking. You're like, oh my God, I got to do it now.
Yeah, your electric is going to go off because you missed your payment, you're late, and I can take care of it right now if you just Zelle me over the money, right? So now when you go into Zelle, and you've probably seen this as a user of Zelle, you go into Zelle, that there's always one screen that comes up that says, are you sure this is who you want to pay to? That is why, because that's where the fraud happens outside the bank, outside the Zelle system.
That has nothing to do with the payment system. That's just someone else, human interaction that's duping them and trying to make, because it's so easy, I guess it's the ease of the application potentially that they're saying that could be problematic. But hey.
But you can see what can happen is that, some word spreads, oh, I lost money on Zelle.
Yeah.
And there's that reputational risk that I like.
Oh, you're stepping into my world now, Chris. Brand, brand management, brand reputation, things of that nature. I think mine is on Cash App now. I had one bad transaction, and now I can't use Cash App any longer. I mean, I have to use a whole nother email. Really simple thing, but yet the whole transaction now is, suspect.
Yeah, and this is a big part of the issue. So Zelle is, I will tell you honestly, it's bank to bank. It's 100% safe. Nobody should fear or have any fear of using Zelle. What you should be concerned of is people asking you to Zelle them money for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that could happen on any platform. I think, no matter what. I'm more interested in this. I want to ask you this, Chris, because I think here's the question: is the traditional banks, the traditional financial authority, is it quietly eroding because of all these other ways to do banking, that banking is becoming potentially the blockbuster in a Netflix world? What do you think?
Well, I love that analogy, Grant. And I would just say eroding is not a word that for me I would use. I would use evolving, right? And that's what's happening. Now, when you talk about a blockbuster in the Netflix world, is Blockbuster couldn't keep up. Now, so the question is, can the banks keep up? Now, today, absolutely. Why? Because they're the only ones that have banking licenses. We've been through that conversation before, right? So they're kind of protected. Blockbuster, there was no license on any of the material processes they had. That's why Netflix, toss them out on the curb very quickly, right? But the banks, they have that. Okay, so you still can't get away from it. And a lot of times I like to talk about maybe it's time to unbank the banks.
Explain it. Unbank the bank. What does that mean?
Well, what it really means is do people really need banks? And can you be able to do everything you do in normal life that you need and do it without a bank?
I think you're right, Chris. I mean, I think about there's so many other applications out there. Like I have a Robinhood account, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can do all my banking really through Robinhood now. It has everything that the bank has. The only thing I haven't seen is an ATM.
But even with that, you can get a debit
Yeah.
ATM.
Yeah, I could probably get a debit card. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. So this is changing rapidly, the systems and probably my generation is used to a certain way of doing things. Obviously, my kids' generation may be used to that, but then my grandkids, they're just growing up into this world. And I'll be talking to them about, yeah, let's go over to the bank and get some checks. They'll be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, certainly, in my view, there's no place for checks in today's system to pay. It's expensive. It's costly. It's very time consuming. So this is some of the issues with checks, and which is why they're going away, and yet why the younger generation has no idea what it was or what it is. It's a was already, right? And by the way, it does solve a marital issue over the years, which is when one partner doesn't know how to balance their checking account.
Oh my God, balance the checkbook. I remember those days. You got to balance because you don't know what checks are out or when checks actually transact, they actually pull money from the account because it was a time delay. The time delay of value of money was a big thing. I do like the instantaneous of it all. You know that the money is in the bank. I went to the automotive place, I think, yesterday, and I just did a small replacement of a light, and I paid through Zelle. It was $50, and he knew exactly. I mean, it was better than cash because the cash is already in his bank account, and you have to run around with physical money, which is a whole nother thing. Physical money, I think now is becoming a barrier. Like, oh my God, cash! I got to run around with cash. Who has cash?
Yeah, no, Grant, and you're exactly right. And one of the things that I think people don't realize that a checking account really hurts you in a lot of ways is this, okay? Let's say I've got 3 checks out, each for $100. And now I'm waiting as much as a week for them to come and hit my bank, right? Now, in the past, not such a big issue. I would keep an extra $300 in the account. My checkbook would be balanced, all right? I would make sure that money is there. But today is a lot different because today, how many subscription services do we have? How many payments do we have? Like, for instance, my electric bill. Okay, yeah, auto pay, no problem. So subscription services and auto pay are 2 big things we didn't have before. So what happens? I've got my $300 set aside, waiting for those checks to hit, and then I forgot about it. My Netflix subscription automatically renews for the month. $16.95 comes out, and now I'm bouncing 1 check.
Yeah.
And I don't even know it until I go in. Either I don't know until I get the notice that the check bounced, or I don't notice unless I go into my account every day and I see that. And then what do I got to do? I got to quickly try to throw some money. So it's a lot different than it was before because you didn't have
I
those.
think you're right. We got to go to a quick break, but we're going to continue on that line because not only did you just talk about you got to put money in before the checks bounce, but then there's those ugly banking fees that can boomerang, and they just boomerang. I see that happen. Like you charge me 3 or 4 times for the same instance. You got to go in there and fight with the bank. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about
unbanked, Grant.
Gotta get unbanked. You're exactly right.
In today's fast-paced financial landscape, access to capital is the key to success. At the heart of this revolution is Case Capital Markets, powered by SETI Case. Here, innovation and investment converge, creating a dynamic environment where businesses can thrive and reach new heights. Introducing Grant McGaw, the senior advisor at Case Capital Markets. Grant is a visionary leader, dedicated to connecting businesses with institutional capital and strategic funding. His expertise opens doors to game-changing investment opportunities, making him an invaluable partner for companies looking to scale and succeed in the competitive world of finance. With an impressive 25 years in technology, 9 years in healthcare, and 6 years in investment banking, Grant McGaw has a proven track record. He has successfully closed over $500 million in high-value transactions, seamlessly bridging technology, healthcare, and infrastructure with innovative financial solutions. His experience is a testament to his ability to drive success. Case Capital Markets offers businesses direct access to over 32,000 venture capital firms, private equity funds, family offices, and institutional investors. This network empowers mid-market companies with under $100 million in revenue to scale beyond their limits, unlocking unprecedented growth potential. Debt, equity, growth capital, public offerings. These are the building blocks of the future of capital access. Whether you're scaling a business, seeking investment, or exploring market expansion, Grant McGaw is your trusted partner. Together, you can unlock capital and create long-term financial success. The future belongs to those who take action. Are you ready to elevate your business?
Hey, we are back. And hey, Chris, you know this? I just found out. I think I just bounced a check in Greenland. So I wonder if I can just, let it go now. I mean,
Grant, sell it.
Too funny, too funny, too funny. Talk to us more, Chris, man. You got a lot on your mind today. This is great. I love it when Chris, Chris has this fantastic look on his face, when he's about to say something, and he just kind of like goes like this for an extended period of time. But he's back. Chris, talk to us more about consumer payments.
Yeah, so Grant, I think that open banking. The next topic that we've seen in consumer payments, and I think that a lot of people have heard of, is called embedded finance.
Embedded finance. I was embed some finance in my world. That sounds good.
Embed some finance. Why not? Okay, but so what that really means is those are different kind of financial apps that are seamlessly integrated into a payment process, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest example right now is what we call the BNPL, buy now, pay later.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So I go on Amazon. I want to buy $100 jacket, right? And when I go to pay, it comes up, Affirm is one of the big companies in this, pops up, Affirm says you can make 4 payments of $25 each with a little bit of interest charged on it, right?
Sure.
Now, Affirmed is a completely separate business app from Amazon.
That's true. Yeah, because I have an Affirm account. I always thought it was for travel because I only saw it when for airlines, when I was booking the airline, and it would come up. And I know it's made it a lot easier for people, just like, hey, I got to fly quickly or something like that, and to absorb that, big charge all at once, you can use an app like an Affirm, and you can pay it
Um,
off, earlier, if that's the case. So you don't have to absorb all that interest. But I think it's a little convenient.
no, and I'm going to say it isn't. I mean, my personal issue with it is human nature. That's my personal
Mhm.
issue with it, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
it's just another way of allowing people to buy what they don't have money for, which
Mm,
puts them further and further in debt.
mm,
And everybody, when it comes to a purchase, and as I try to tell my grandkids this, right, is anything that, forget about the bills you have to pay, but anything else that you buy, you should think about twice. And then after thinking about it the second time, don't buy it.
mm, mm.
Yeah, not advice that they like, right?
Yeah.
Although it backfires on me, Grant, because then they turn around and say, well, Grandpa, can't you get it for me?
Exactly. The whole point is I want it, but yeah, you can buy it with no interest. You should get it.
Here it is. So I don't like things that encourage people to go further and further in debt. It's to me, it's one of the silent killers of our financial age that we have, right? It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
You know, so you can do this when it comes to buying things. Now they're offering these things on loans. It's becoming a standard item in checkout, and that's a key example of embedded finance. Now, when I was doing something, I had a bit of news that popped up to me that became really interested, and I went to look and to see what the list of it was. So the news comes, Grant, from Saudi Arabia, just
Mm.
right after the new year. Nasser bin Radan Al Rashid Al Wadid passed away.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Now, you might not know who that is, but his reported age was 100 and
How
okay,
much? How old?
142.
Wow. 142.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So I'm looking at that, and by the way, 7,000 people went to his funeral. Right, all family. Anyway, when, but and you're talking about a country, Saudi Arabia, where roughly the average age is 78 years. So he, in effect, like doubled
Yeah.
that, right? So it made me really curious, right? And then I read that at age 110, he got married for the last time and had a daughter.
That's okay. All right.
104 children and grandchildren. Okay, not so bad, right? They would bleed me dry anyway. But so I went and looked into it a little further, and difference in the oldest.
I can't believe that. 142 years old having children at 110 in
So
Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
Wow.
so very really when the Guinness Book of Records kind of comes in and does all the document checks and everything, like your KYC of your age,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Know your customer.
Yep, they do that, and they say yes, we can certify that this is true. Now, for Mr. Nasser here, it is not true. He is unverified.
Mm.
They could
Right,
not
older
find.
than that. It's
Yeah,
older
they
than
could not find documents. So then it made me curious. Also, is verified? What is or what are the oldest unverified people on record? Right. Let's
Mhm.
start with that first, because who knows? They're unverified, right? So what pops up? A man from China named Ling Ching Yung,
Okay.
256 years old.
No, really? Wow.
By the way, he's a legend. Okay.
I would figure he is in several generations of people.
Yeah. And then you have a gentleman named Sherali Muslimov, who is from Azerbaijan, and he was 168, also unverified. And the last one I want to mention is a man named Mabeth Gotho, who was from Indonesia at 146. Now, all three of these places, it's very difficult for records that far back to be able to be proven and these kind of things. So let's jump right away and say, who's the verified oldest person in the world?
Who is it? Who is it?
Okay, so it was a French woman. She's passed away. Her name was Jean Clement, and she verified by Guinness Book World Records 122 years old.
That's okay.
Right. So right away, the next thing in my mind is who is currently the oldest living person alive today?
Verified.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a woman named Ethel Carterham out of the UK who is 116 years old. She'll be 117 come March, right?
Wow.
Okay, so that was very interesting for me, right? Then I said, well, between 122 and 116, right? How many people could there be? Well, it turns out not many. Only 5 verified people have lived more than 116 years and less than 122.
Verified. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it makes you think, for like you were talking about the banked and the unbanked, how many unverified people you think about remote areas in South America, Africa, things of that nature, some of the
Asia, it's just and see that's kind of why I even got on this whole trick is KYC, it's like it's so important in our consumer payments world, right? We need to know who you are. You need to know and prove to us who you are so that there's safety on both sides. Right?
Yeah, verified. People want to know, like, and trust. Trust being the key word there. That you are you, and that we are doing business with you, and there's no imposter that's doing that. I remember so many films that are out there that I really actually like Ocean's 10. Remember when that first came out? Yeah. And we were kind of like celebrating fraud, so. So we got to be careful about those things.
Well, I think it's human nature. We like it when we get away with something.
Yeah.
And by the way, that Ocean's 11, and that whole series, the great series, but the original movies were all done decades ago by Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis Jr., that whole Joey Belafonte, Bishop, Joey Bishop, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Bishop, yeah.
That whole gang. And then, the George Clooney crew with Brad Pitt, and we can go on because there's a lot of big names in those series. And then they did the woman's one.
Yeah. It was
right?
It's great. But to your point, the human nature, because they make this mousetrap and we're all in it, and then we have to go through the certain doors because they've got it kind of rigged. And everybody knows this, but you don't have no choice but to go through these doors. And then so these payment systems and all these other systems. So if somebody gets outside of that, we kind of celebrate, hey, that's somebody that got over the wall, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But nobody wants to jailbreak because that's how our system is set up, so that we have checks and balances in the flow of commerce. And getting back to what you're saying about payments and the different types of payments and the things that are there, and how they put the cheese in front of you, constantly, because it's like, what, we're giving you this $1, but we want $1.50 back after you paid all the interest or whatever. We just have to be aware of how this game is being played, and that's why I like how you kind of bring that all together. We've got to take a quick break before we continue on, because I see by your face that you have a lot more to talk about when it comes to these consumer payments. So we're going to be right back, and we're going to get this going.
Third Wall Street is a new emerging global capital markets formation and structured trifactor financial hub at the U.S. Third Border in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, in the Caribbean and Latin America. The new Third Wall Street is the home of the Alexander Hamilton Financial Center and named in honor of Alexander Hamilton, an American founding father, first U.S. Treasury Secretary, and architect of the U.S. financial system and modern America. Third Wall Street is located in a U.S. National Heritage Area, Opportunity Zone, and the boyhood home of Alexander Hamilton in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Island, connecting 3 financial hubs in the Americas by way of new innovative financial technology and markets: New York Wall Street South, Brickell Avenue, Miami, and Third Wall Street in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and established the new Caribbean America's single economy zone, developed by Case Capital Markets. Third Wall Street will transform financial markets, improving access to capital worldwide. Visit www.thirdwallstreet.com to learn more.
Imagine, if you will, a single point of connection that puts at your fingertips all of the things that we do in our daily lives with ease of access and convenience. Whether in your personal life, for work, travel, and entertainment with family, friends, and in your work life. The new OneConnect app is all you need to make your life more manageable and efficient in maximizing the best use of your time. The OneConnect app is your new connection in a world of busy people with lots to do and not enough time to get things done. OneConnect app was created with you in mind and is all you need. Download OneConnect app now. Also visit us at www.oneconnectapp.com.
Hey, we are back. We are back. I think I figured out. I think I got it. I think I figured it out, Chris. Why does Donald Trump want to buy Greenland? It's green. It's green. It must have a financial component that is green and that he sees, and he wants to get that for the American people, and we're all going to be enriched by this green treasury that's sitting there in Greenland, right?
Well, Grant, I've got, my take. Okay, I'm not interested in who the politicians are and what they are, because, politics are a business. It's a business of power and money, and it's not a business of helping us, the people. Okay, period. Right. But I'm always interested in these kind of things, and I'm interested as to the numbers behind it, as well as some of the strategic aspects of it, right? So when we start talking about Greenland, let's first give an idea of what Greenland really is. It is the largest island in the world, on the globe, right? Australia is a continent, not an island, right? It's not only the largest, it's 3 times the size of Texas. It's 50% larger than Alaska. So in effect, figuratively or theoretically, it would be or could become the largest state of the United States if we went that direction. And I'm not advocating that at all. I'm just putting it out there to give an idea of size, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's covered 80% by a massive ice cap, right? The population is 56,000 people, mostly native Inuit. Okay? So now let's start getting some idea. It is the lowest density place on the world, not including the polar caps, of course, right?
Right.
Okay. So you have what roughly is one of the largest countries in the world, except it's not quite a country. Okay. So let's talk about the history a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So the the Danes today, the country of Denmark, the Danish people,
the ones that used to own St. Croix, by the way. Yeah,
that's right. Very good. They own, because they have a big seafaring history, right? And that comes right to the point here, right? So one of the things that the Danes have always banked on is the fact that the Vikings first settled Greenland back in the 10th century.
Mm.
So that's like the origination of their claim, right? But the Vikings, they settled there, and for almost 5 centuries, they had active colonies there, but they were later abandoned. And it wasn't until the 1700s that a missionary who went to Greenland from Denmark claimed the land once again under the United Kingdom of Denmark-Norway. At the time, it was the United Kingdom, right? Now, later on, when Napoleon came at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, right, Norway was given to Sweden, and those territories, Greenland, and it also included Iceland and the Faroe Islands, which are another small group of islands in between Europe and Greenland, right, were all given to Denmark. So now that's where the Danish claim once again comes back, right? And they pretty much had it as basically a colony. And we all know how that's worked out in many other places of the world, right?
Sure.
Now, interestingly enough, there was no Denmark in theory, well, not in practicality. In theory, there was. Starting in 1939. Why? Because of World War II. Why? Because the Nazis overran Denmark, and it became part of Nazi territory, right? Part of Germany, let's say, right? So from 1940 to 1946, it was under U.S. control, right? Not only that, but the Nazis actually, during World War II, set up 2 settlements on Greenland.
Okay, that's news. This is history.
Yeah, I mean, interesting stuff, right? Of course, they were gone, whatever. And then after World War II, when the Denmark, which is a kingdom to this day, it's not a democracy, okay? It's a kingdom, was returned to the royal Danish family after World War II, basically by the U.S., right? They continued to govern it as a colony, right? Greenland gained what they call home rule in 1979 and self-government in 2009, which meant they
2009? It was, yes. They just got self-governed in 2009. I must have slept on that. I don't remember that.
It wasn't big news. I mean, for a little less than 50.
So a little less than 56,000 people got to govern themselves. I mean, there are more people in the U.S. Virgin Islands than there are in Greenland, is what I'm understanding. Is that right, Chris? I think because in United States Virgin Islands is about 80 to 100,000 people, give or take, time of year. But you said there's only 56,000 there in Greenland.
56,000.
You got an accurate number on that? 56,961 people. And I would figure you said most of those are Native Americans living there. And there's probably a small contingent potentially of people of Danish rule that are still in Greenland. Never knew that. I never knew that.
Yeah. So what does self-government mean in this case? So since 2009, they're able to self-govern domestic issues. Okay? That's it. Denmark still controls all foreign issues, all security issues, and, interesting, of course, to me and to us, all financial and monetary issues and policies.
Okay.
Okay? So basically, what does self-rule mean? It means we can name the streets.
It's interesting how you said that, because that means that the United States, in this case, it sounds like they need to be doing business with the people of the Danish people in order to acquire and I don't know how they're going to go about acquiring Greenland or what their intentions are. Now, well, I don't want to get off subject here, but it sounds like if they are part of NATO and they're part of our, and they are an ally, why don't we just work with them? Why do we need to own it? I don't understand that.
Well, it's a question of a couple of things right now, and I think our current government is, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying a bit aggressive. So, it's political talk to some extent. To some extent, there's, of course, reality under it. Now, one of the things that, when we've talked about it before too, are rare earth elements, right?
Yeah.
Critical to the battery industry, because lithium is one of them. Critical to anything high tech. And China has done a good job of monopolizing a lot of this. There are huge deposits potentially in Greenland, okay? So now let's talk a little about strategic value, right? Because here's where it's interesting. There's not only that, there's not only things like uranium and iron ore and precious gems, right? But of course, there's also potentially 15% of the world's crude still underneath Greenland, right?
Wow.
30% of the liquid gas reserves potentially under Greenland. Again, it becomes strategically, and of course, from a commodity standpoint, they're tremendous fishing grounds in and around Greenland, right? More importantly, though, is the commercial and military aspects of it, right? So what's starting to open up more and more now are what we call the Arctic shipping routes, right? So for shipments, this is becoming very important. It's had always been known as the Northwest Passage, right? You remember when they had, back in the sailing ship days, they were always looking. There's been TV shows on TV about finding that Northwest Passage, right?
I've heard about that one, yeah.
Greenland is the door, right? So that's one of the big things. There's the transpolar route, right? So right now, basically, to be able to move goods here, the only thing that really moves easily in the Arctic oceans are submarines, because they're under the ice, right? Now, opening that up certainly makes a big difference. But now I want to divert just a little bit, Grant, because to open it up takes a few things. But one of the main things it takes is icebreakers.
You're trying to be funny. It's an icebreaker. It's an icebreaker. Hold up. We got one more break, Chris, and then we're going to do these icebreakers, because I think that is, first of all, that's got my full attention. And
of course, you're part on that one, huh?
Oh, I can't wait to hear about these icebreakers. We'll be right back.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaw explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel, our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, rtv.network.
And we are back. And I know Chris knows I'm in Nebraska right now, where ice breaking is something that might be very popular right now. What do you got for some icebreakers there, Chris? Chris always starts out with a smile. This guy, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to really see this show and appreciate his smile, his demeanor, because this guy is full of icebreakers today. He started off the show. He's like, Grant, we need to do some icebreakers. We need to, really bring some enthusiasm to what we're doing. I said, okay, what do you want to do, Chris? He said, we're going to talk about Greenland, and we're going to talk about ice breaking. I'm like, really? So there you go, Chris.
Grant, I didn't tell you about the ice breaking part. Greenland, yes. Okay.
All right, I'll follow in that sword.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds kind of funny and everything, but again, when we start talking about strategic value, the strategic value of these Northwest Passage is the ability to move commerce, not only cargo and container ships, but even military vessels through, right? And the only way you can do that is if they stay open. The only way they can stay open is
we have to own it. Is that what you're saying? Or
icebreakers. That's the only way to keep it open. Icebreakers, Grant.
Okay. I missed that.
So let's look at the strategic value of icebreakers.
Icebreaking. Let's do it.
Here is so important, right? So what country would you guess owns the most icebreakers?
Which country owns the most icebreakers? Russia.
Absolutely. Right?
I made it.
There you go. Do you know number two?
I don't. Number two is China.
Wrong. Grant, Russia, world's largest country in physical space with the biggest ice border, right?
Mm.
What country would be number two with the biggest ice border?
Canada, I would think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're talking. Okay.
Now we're talking. Get my geography hat on.
There we go. So Russia has over 40 icebreakers, right? And included in that total are the only nuclear-powered icebreakers in the world, and they have 8 of them.
Wow. Nuclear powered. Woo.
Yeah. Okay, Canada has a fleet of about 22 icebreakers.
Mm.
Number 3 on the list is a country you might or might not think about, which has 11, which is Finland.
Finland. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? But what's more important about Finland, Finland is the world's leading nation for building icebreakers for other countries.
And they make the icebreakers. Well, good for Finland. Nice place to go.
Right? In fact, they make a lot of the Russian ones, not the nuclear ones, because nuclear propulsion is a military strategic technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they make the other ones, okay? And it's because the Finnish docks there, the shipbuilding docks, are made for these things. They have made the process to where it's simpler. They can turn out a huge icebreaker in less than 2 years, right? Yeah. And they have some great technology for it. The latest in ice-breaking technology, and it's been for a while, it's new to us because we're just learning about ice-breaking, right, is what they call ice folding.
Ice folding?
Yes.
Okay, this is interesting.
Okay, so this is where the ship doesn't actually cut through the ice. This is where the ship actually rises above the ice and then folds it under by the weight and structure of the front of the vessel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See that in action.
I'd like to see that. I think y'all want to. No, it's too cold. Anyway, so number 4 on the list is the U.S., which has 3 icebreakers.
That's it. Just 3.
Yeah.
All of Alaska,
Interesting, okay, is that there's the Polar Security Cutter Program, which was instituted earlier this year. Not this year, last year, I'm sorry. And we've ordered 3 new icebreakers and then a second order of 4 new ones. So we're going to increase our ice-breaking fleet of the United States to 10. By the way, they're all going to be ordered. All the buildings going to start. They're all ordered.
Buying it from Finland, right?
They're all buying them from Finland. Absolutely. Okay. And in fact, it's really interesting because they'll fall under the Coast Guard, right? And there's a government mandate that the Coast Guard has to buy domestic, right?
Yeah.
Except in the case where there's a military security issue and it cannot be successfully produced in the United States. Icebrakers fit that. Finland got the order for all 7. Now, interestingly enough, is that we won't get the first icebreaker from Finland for 2 years, when pretty much this administration will be, for effectiveness, kind of over. So it's really kind of thinking ahead to some extent, I guess, right?
But isn't Finland over there by Denmark, and Finland, I don't know, I guess they're...
Well, geography-wise, okay, Finland, the biggest land border of Finland is Russia on its east side.
Okay.
On the west side, the border is the North Sea. At the bottom, you have connection to Denmark and into... the western border is Norway, not the North Sea, it's Norway, right? So the biggest Scandinavian border is Norway, and then you have Sweden and Denmark that make up that other.
I just think it would make sense if we were friends with everybody. I mean, if
we
they...
are.
Well, I don't know anymore. I mean, that don't sound too friendly. The words I'm getting out of Greenland, it don't sound like it's all that friendly.
Well, here's what I think also, okay, is it reminds me in some ways, and it may not be similar, it just reminds me in some ways of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is the Commonwealth of the U.S., right? It has all the benefits. You're born in Puerto Rico, like my wife. My wife is Puerto Rican. She's a U.S. citizen. She's born U.S. citizen because of Puerto Rico. But anytime we talk about making Puerto Rico the 51st state, right?
Yeah.
The politicians in Puerto Rico mobilize and right away start telling everybody, we're going to lose our nationality and everything. And the Puerto Ricans who don't know the issues, they get all excited and they're at night shooting guns off and doing all kinds of party and everything, so that when it comes to election time. Now, to me, it doesn't make sense, okay? Again, my wife is Puerto Rican, and I remember my mother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
She lived in Connecticut. When she moved down to Puerto Rico, her Social Security got cut because Puerto Rico is not a state and is not entitled to as much, right? So nobody says...
I did not know that. So if you move to another, territory or something, your Social Security gets cut. Why would that make any difference if you earn the money in the States? I don't know why that would make a difference.
Well, see, I think that if it was publicized in Puerto Rico, these things, that every Puerto Rican on Social Security would vote to be a state.
You would think.
Right. So, but what's the problem with the politicians is, again, politics is a business of power and money. The people who run Puerto Rico today, the governor down, right, would be kind of unnecessary in the same kind of role with the same kind of power they have today.
Them obsolete.
They would still have it. They'd be a state. You'd still have a state government, but the federal government would be overshadowing, right? Overseeing. Now it overshadows Puerto Rico. It doesn't oversee Puerto Rico. So
right.
Minor difference. So I look at Greenland and I say, well, let me see here. It's 80% Inuit. The government, as far as I can tell, when I did some looks through, is all Danish. So what benefit would it be for the head of the Greenland government to not want to be tied to Denmark? Well, personally, no benefit for him, okay? He would lose all his benefits, in fact.
Yeah.
Right? So again, is it the business of power and money? And that guy is saying, no, Greenlanders don't want to be part of the U.S.
Because they bring the nationalist flag out and everybody else, but really it's all about power and money, most likely.
Because I think, because here's part of the problem right now when you talk economically, right? When we come to Greenland. Greenland, okay, they have fishing, right? So that brings in some money. I mean, they talk about a tourist industry, but I think if you think about if 1,000 tourists go a year and the population is only 56,000 people, it's a high percent, right? Okay, right? You have some mineral exploration, but they.
But here's the thing, Chris. Why now?
But they generally
now.
The people of Greenland generally are sustained by the money from Denmark. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is the point.
yeah,
Now, if I'm in Greenland and I'm thinking, well, but let me just throw the dice here. Who do you think I could get more money from, Denmark or the deep pockets of the U.S.? If I'm a lawyer, what do I always go after?
yeah.
I don't want to sue an individual. I want to sue the company. Why? Deep pockets.
Right,
Right?
right.
So kind of interesting when you start looking at this.
But why now? Why the United States now? Why
Well,
now?
okay, great question, and I got the answer for you, of course, Grant. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think like you think. Right? Here's one of the things. It's not now. That's what people understand. It's not now. Do you know in 1946, when Denmark became a country again because they were part of Nazi Germany, right?
Yeah.
That the U.S. made an offer then and there to buy Greenland.
Ah.
And Denmark said no. So this is not a new idea by any stretch of the imagination. I'll give you one further. Okay? When the U.S., what they call Seward's Folly, right? Which is when the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia, right?
Yeah.
Seward also made an offer to Denmark, Norway, the Kingdom of Denmark, Norway at the time, for Greenland.
This is interesting. We
A lot of
only got a
history
minute.
here.
We've got a minute 45. We're talking about payments. And that's what we're talking about, right? Can we pay for these lands, or do we just,
Well, I want to hit just one small thing different.
You got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a 1 minute thing. And that is the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has announced that he's supporting state legislation to make a constitutional amendment that would allow voters to decide whether there should be property tax. And his quote is, homeowners should not have to pay in perpetuity rent to the government. What do you think about that?
I love that. I mean, one thing I learned, I know it's only 2 minutes, like in other countries, when you buy your house, you own your house. You own it. There's no, taxes that they're owned on. You own the property. You deed it. It's yours. There's no this rigmarole. Like in the U.S., it seems like you own your house, but you're always going to pay some taxes on top of that, no matter what. So do you own it, or are you just renting it?
well, Grant, just the point of interest, in Puerto Rico, there's no property tax.
There you go. There you go. I wonder why. So there's certain reasons why you stay what you are. We got to wrap up here. We got to take off. This has been, wonderful. Come to us next week on The Big Picture. We're talking about the big things, the big issues, and what is the word of the day. So thanks again for tuning in. Take care.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel, our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, rtv.network.